Hello and welcome to E3D's The Fountain Part 1 High-Res Modeling. And in this section of the series we're going to be going through the entire process of creating this fountain from scratch. And this piece is very modular. There's a lot of different kinds of elements here. We have some that are more hard surface and some that are more organic. And we even have a lot of sculpting types. Now you can see here at the top how we have a lot of reused elements everywhere, and it's really not as complicated as you may think to create something like this. And as I go down here, you can see a lot of the different sculpted elements, like this trim here, and even down here at the base has some sculpting detail. And we will be using 3ds Max 2010, and there's a few tools that come with it, the graphite modeling tools that we'll be using, like the Swift Loop and the loop selection tools, and some more of the nice quick access that gives us. You would be able to follow along using Max 2008 or 9 pretty easily, I think, or even another program. But you would just need to know how to translate some of those slice tools or loop selection tools in that program. I'm pretty sure any other program would translate pretty well if you at least know the basics of that program. This is more of a intermediate DVD. It's not too beginners. Though if you are a beginner, you could follow along and learn a whole lot. But there is a required basic knowledge of 3D Max. And if you want more information about learning Max, there is a DVD by Eric Masowski on the website, and he goes over for 20 hours how to use 3ds Max and all the different features. And also he's about to release a 2010 amendment, which should help out a lot to be able to do more complex things like you see here. And we will be using this reference image. And as you can see here, that this is the original reference image. And I made this blockout sheet by separating the major different elements. So we have the base down here, the midsection in the middle, the bowl, and then the top. And you can see we can break that down even further by separating the modular aspects of this. So you can see with this base here, we only really need to do a half. And the same thing, we only really need to make one column. You can see if we break this down even further, it's very modular. And really all you have to do is focus on these few pieces, and then next thing you know, the entire thing is done. Even with this base down here, we don't even create this whole piece like you see. Rather, we just make a bunch of different of these stones and then place these stones around everywhere. The process can be really fast if you just break it down and think of it in a more modular Lego aspect. So you can see up here, we just make one ornament piece for the top, and then we even reuse some of that detail in other places. And same down here, you have that middle detail, and then you have this column and entrance, and so on. And I try to create everything in a very modular way, and to try to keep in mind the low poly version that we're going to have to create in the next part of the series, which is not covered in this DVD. And that should be available in the next month or two. And one unique thing about this DVD is I actually go into both Mudbox 2009 and Zbrush 3.1 to do the sculpting for all of these things. So I actually sculpt everything twice. And you can see here in Mudbox, we take a stencil and then we paint in a lot more larger details to try to get this thing to stand out from a distance. You can see it looks great here in Mudbox. And we take this modular piece and copy it around inside of 3ds Max. But to optimize it, we use a program called Mesh Lab to get it at a lower resolution before taking it into Max. And likewise, here we use Zbrush 3.1 to do the same kind of details, and we go through the same thing twice. But instead of using Mesh Lab to reduce the polygons here, we use the new plugin from Zbrush called Decimation Master, which works really great, and it saves a step to having to use in another program like Mesh Lab or Polycruncher to do the optimization. So after all that, we assemble it here in Max, and I show you how to render it out for your portfolio. And a lot of time was spent in making this, so I hope everyone enjoys it and gets a lot out of it, and we'd love a review or comments on the forum. So thanks again to all those who support E3D and keep us going. It's great to be able to spend the time to make these high quality DVDs, and hopefully we'll see you in part 2 where we go through creating the low-res version of this with creating the UVs, baking out the maps, and using all kinds of techniques with that. So I hope you enjoy, and thanks for watching.